what does the Bundesliga need in order to have a Ballon d'Or winner? Yeah. Well, the Bundesliga doesn't have Messi. No, because I'm a big fan of him. But no, I mean, when you talk about individual awards, you know, those special awards like a Ballon d'Or or FIFA World Player of the Year or these type of awards that you have, obviously you need to be in a team that is capable to win the Champions League. Yeah, and probably you need to win that Champions League if you want to be considered as the Ballon d'Or at the end of the year then. And I mean, even if Messi here and there won some Ballon d'Ors, not winning maybe the Champions League that year, it's still Messi the way he played, and he probably won in the championship with his club teams and so on. But now, most importantly, he won the World Cup, you know, in Qatar, and that it takes him completely to another level with his old idol, you know, Diego Armando Maradona. And we were all, I think the whole world was just thrilled for Messi that this all happened, and it all came into place there in Qatar. And I was there myself at the game and stuff. When you talk about such a special players combined with special clubs that they represent, you know, if it's an Erling Haaland at Manchester City, or now you know, Jude Bellingham shooting through the roof at Real Madrid, or you know, Harry Kane doing exceptionally from day one on at Bayern Munich, then you talk about the teams that are capable to win the Champions League. And when they win then at the end of the season the Champions League, and you scored an amazing amount of goals, and you were very, very special throughout the year, maybe won also the domestic title with that big club that you represent, and there are only 6 or 8 clubs in that caliber in Europe. Talking about European clubs, obviously there's big clubs in South America as well. Then I think you have a shot. You know, you have a shot there. I mean, now Harry Kane, he made that move that I did over 30 years ago. You know, I left Spurs because I wanted to win some titles at the end of my career, and Tottenham was not capable to give me that chance. And then I won the European Cup, I won a German championship, and at the same time I won the European Championship in England. Then, and he's now in Germany, and the Germany will host the European Championship next summer, and he's playing now for Bayern Munich. Maybe he does it the other way around next summer and takes England to win the European Championship, because England has one of the top teams in the world at the moment, a really, really strong team. But it needs a couple of those elements coming together for that particular player. And then when this happens, then you're in the top 3, and then obviously the people vote for it, and whatever they decide, they decide. But I've always been a big Messi fan, and I was just happy that everything came to a wonderful, wonderful finish there in Qatar with him and his Argentina.
Thanks for your answer. And a short question. No, not it's a long answer. Can Colombia be considered a soccer power in the Bundesliga now? In this moment, Adrian Ramos with Hertha de Berlin. Santos Borré now in Werder Bremer. What is your opinion?
Well, I hope that they feel happy, you know, that they feel they're in a good spot, that they feel support from, you know, their clubs and the people around them, and that will make them only mature. It will make them only grow. Always when you go to another continent, if it's now Germany or if it's England or Spain, or I mean, Spain is maybe a bit easier because you have no language issue then. But when you go far away from home, it's tough. It's tough, you know. And I had many teammates, you know, they came from another continent and played then, and they gave their best, but maybe they never broke through the way they could have broken through, because there was maybe on the social side some elements missing. You know, if it's family, if it's friends, if it's you're just not the same as you were when you were at home. So there are so many little things that are important for players when they go abroad, when they go to Europe, that they also need to work out not only the things on the field, because every player that comes to Europe is a good player. every talent that comes from South America goes there for a reason, and they've been seen, they've been scouted, they've been evaluated. You know, they play probably for their country's national teams or youth national teams at least, and so they're good. They're good. But now you need all the other components as well to help this kid to break through. You know, to be the best he can be in a place far away from home. So I admire that a lot when I see some kids and some kids struggling too, and I hope that they can make it through the system, that they have the confidence and a little bit of luck you need as well. You need a coach that is behind you, a coach that helps you, and hopefully for them it will work out.
Thank you, Jurgen.
Thank you. Please, Manuel Medina.
Hi, Jurgen. This is Manuel Medina from TG Sports and TG Sports USA. I wanted to ask you two questions. The first one, it will be about Bayern Munich. Do you believe that this dominance that the team has in the Bundesliga does it actually hurt the other teams and even Bayern itself? Because when they go and compete in Europe, this is not new. This is not from this year. But when they go and compete in Europe, they have a really, really bad time. So I just wanted your opinion on that.
Yeah, I mean, Manuel, you have a good point. You need high competition in your championship, in your country, the domestic championship, in order to be best prepared for the Champions League. And so we all hope, from a neutral perspective, that Dortmund, Leverkusen, Leipzig, these teams give as much trouble to Bayern Munich as possible, not making it easy. I mean, last year it was more Dortmund losing it than Bayern actually winning it. So we're getting closer, so we need that drama as well. But also we need that drama that it's very competitive, as you said, for the benefit for Bayern Munich then competing in Europe. Because if it's too easy in your country, and then you face suddenly Manchester City or Real Madrid or Barcelona or these huge clubs, then you might not be best prepared for them because it's been too easy for you in a domestic competition. But this year it looks quite exciting. I think Dortmund is right there. Leverkusen at the moment is right there. Leipzig too. We have one surprise team with Stuttgart, my old team where I grew up, basically, doing well. But I don't expect them to stay up there. I think sooner or later they kind of will drop a bit. But if they could stay in the top 6 or 8, that would be fantastic for that club. Because they struggled the last couple of years with relegation mostly. But Bayern Munich needs that competition. They need a very strong Bundesliga in order to be prepared for the Champions League. Their ultimate goal at Bayern Munich is always to win the Champions League. That's what they're hungry for. That's what the fans want in Munich. And I think they have a roster together now with a fantastic, one of the best strikers in the world with Harry Kane up front and a fantastic center back, Kim Min-jae, that comes from Korea. So they're well prepared. They're well prepared for the Champions League fight. They won all games so far. But when you're talking about the final 8 teams in the European Champions League, that's where everybody can beat everybody.
And my second question, I wanted to ask you about, Antonio already asked you about the Colombians. I'm going to ask you about the Americans and about the Mexicans. I think you must be very proud to see so many Americans playing now in the Bundesliga because of the high level of competition that they have. But I also wanted to ask you, when do you see Mexicans coming back? Some play in your club in Stuttgart. But there's a lot of there's some Mexicans who are going to different teams, especially in the Netherlands, in England. So the language barrier, I don't think it's a problem for the Mexicans, right? But what's happening? Why is there no more Mexicans in the Bundesliga? Thank you.
I think there's always interest for the Mexican players in the Bundesliga and in all the leagues in Europe. They constantly scout the young players. So every under 20, under 18 national team is under observation of all Bundesliga teams, of all the European teams. So if you have special players coming through the ranks in Mexico, in the youth national teams, they are observed. they've been watched. I'm extremely happy for so many American kids, jumped over the basically ocean in a certain way and threw themselves into the cold water and to prove their points, because in order to become a very successful national team, you need to have your best players in the top leagues in Europe. You need, and it's the same with the South American teams. If you want to have a successful Colombian team, successful Chilean team, or obviously besides of Argentina and Brazil, you need to have your best players in Europe, because you need to have that experience to play the best players in the world week in, week out. Now we have an American national team that the majority is all in Europe, and playing not only for European clubs, normal clubs. They play also for Champions League teams. They play for teams that are in the top 5 in their respective leagues, and that has been changed over the years. And I always when I was in the middle of working with the national team for the 5.5 years I had the honor to do that, I always told them, give it a shot, give it a try. If it doesn't work out, it's no problem. You can always come back to MLS. You can always come back to Liga MX. It's not a problem if it doesn't work out. But if you get the opportunity to prove your point in Europe, you got to do it. You got to do it to yourself. And now I see these players all over Europe, and it makes me smile. It makes me feel good, and that prepares them for the national team on the international level, because the next World Cup will be in Mexico, Canada, and the United States. You will benefit from that in that World Cup, because now when all the other national teams coming into play against you in the next World Cup, you are familiar with them. It's not that you see them the first time. You have seen them throughout the year a couple of times, so you're not worried about them anymore. But if you don't play them in their club environment at all, because you're not making that jump over there in the best leagues in Europe, then you see those top players the first time in the World Cup, and you might be a bit scared, because you said, I don't know, haven't played against Jude Bellingham yet, or Harry Kane, or Musiala, so they're damn good players. But if you see them week in, week out, no problem.
Thanks. Iliani Aparicio, please.
Thanks. Hi, Jurgen. Iliani Aparicio from Diario Record de Mexico City. My question is, what is the best experience you had in the Bundesliga?
I think the best experience I could go through personally with the Bundesliga was that I was a very young kid coming from the second division and the first division at the age of 19, 20. And I got the chance to play in the Bundesliga. So I think the Bundesliga really throughout the decades, and it hasn't changed much since I played a long time ago, that young players get the opportunity to play. If you prove that you have qualities, that you have the hunger, that you can suffer, that you can deal also with setbacks when things don't work out, you come back and you fight for your spot, then Bundesliga is a great place to be, because the coaches in general in Germany, they give young players chances to play, even if it's maybe just from the bench, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, but often also from the beginning on. And I was given that chance at 19, 20 from the beginning on. At my days, I was in Stuttgart, to play from the beginning on. And if you would have done the same move in England or in Italy, probably the team, or in Spain, they would have said, oh no, he's too young still, let him grow, let him stay in the second division or third division to grow. And then they throw you in there maybe at 22, 23, 24. But the Bundesliga, they're not waiting. If you have the talent at 18, at 17, they throw you in there, and then just go out there and play and give your best. And you saw now so many young players, they're breaking through so early, because they're giving that opportunity by their coaches, and they are allowed, and that's a very, very important thing, they're allowed of making mistakes. So if a young player comes in and makes a mistake or two mistakes, or has a bad game, it's not the end of the world. If he proves in training again that is there to fight, that is there to come back and to try it again. That's all that German coaches want to see, and then he will get that opportunity again. And I always liked that on the Bundesliga, and that made me always feel good. And that's why I could grow there. I was given the confidence of the club, the coaches, and then I could move on and later on to bigger clubs, obviously in Italy and in England.
Today, where is the Bundesliga in the competition? It's a good league para young players, for example, Santiago Jimenez.
Yeah, I think it's a good place really to, as I said, to grow and to become more mature and to become hungrier and to showcase yourself. And it's top 5 leagues in the world. There's no doubt about it. The Premier League is above. There's no doubt. And everybody is respectful to the Premier League as it is right now. The Spanish league, even with Real Madrid and Atletico and Barcelona, respect that too. The Italians, they respect that too. They don't want to feel that way because I have many friends in Italy, they feel like Serie A, it's, the mecca of the football, but it's not anymore. The Premier League kind of distanced itself a little bit from the top to France, Italy, Spain, and the German league. Those people know that. But what the good thing is about the Bundesliga really is there's one fantastic team with Bayern Munich, always capable to beat any English team. Any English team. They can go to Man City and say, we're going to beat Man City tomorrow. Because they have the confidence to do that. Because they built that confidence over the last 50 years. Bayern Munich, with the exceptional leadership of Uli Hoeneß and Rummenigge and Beckenbauer, these fantastic people that built that club, The other teams, they're always good to compete in Europe, to go far, like Borussia Dortmund. We have now Leipzig becoming stronger over the last years. And now we hope with Leverkusen, maybe a team that's breaking in there. But in general, they're very, very competitive. And they don't have fear, And if it doesn't work out and they don't win a European trophy at the end of the year, so, okay, then we try it the next year again. But if you look at the surprise team, Eintracht Frankfurt, for example, you wouldn't rate them, to win the Champions League. But, they won the Europa League, and everybody was wondering, whoa, they went to Barcelona and beat Barcelona in Barcelona and bought 40,000 tickets from the Catalan people on game day and filled up the stadium with Frankfurt fans all over. So they are fantastic stories. I think what I really like on the Bundesliga is that you get given a chance. And if a young Mexican player gets the opportunity maybe to go to a team in Bundesliga, then he should not be afraid. He should give it a try, and the people will look after you, and they know that you don't speak German when you arrive there day one. It's not a handicap. Young people all speak English around the world. I mean, I live now in Korea, and the young people all speak English. I study Korean, but I don't need to speak it. And the people, is totally fine with them. But for young people, it's no problem to move to another continent and to find your way around it in English. And so I think it would benefit for the Mexican national team tremendously if more people have that courage to give it a shot, to give it a try in Europe. And as I said, the same with the American players. If it doesn't work out, then it's okay. You gave it a try and then come back, play in MLS or play in Liga MX. It's a very good league, strong league too, fun league to watch as well. But the creme de la creme is in Europe, even for the Argentinians, for the Brazilians. The best players are all in Europe. And if you want to be prepared for the highest level possible at a World Cup, then one day you need to have experience in Europe.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hugo Avalos, please.
Thank you. Thank you for this. And Jurgen, hi. You are also from Bolavip, Argentina. I want to talk, for obvious reason, about Messi. You coach the United States national team, so you know the country and its league. With the arrival of Lionel Messi, the league had an impact really high. So what else does this league and you talk about the Mexican league, the need of the football players that needs to go to Europe to be better. And so what else does the Mexican league and the MLS, Major League Soccer, needs to be at the level of an European league, for example, the Bundesliga?
Well, that's not an easy question, Hugo, because obviously you saw now grow MLS over the last 25 years in a very fast way with all the expansion teams year by year, and it's still growing. It's still coming more teams into this because the United States, as we all know, is a humongous big country. But they've done a fantastic job establishing the league, get the league safe, so the league will not going bankrupt anymore, like it happened to the NASL years ago, prior to when Beckenbauer came and Pelé played there, and then they went bankrupt because they spent the money too fast, and they didn't get the income for it. Now it's safe. The league is safe. I think it's a fantastic rivalry now over the last 25 years that developed with the Mexican Liga MX, which I adore as well. I go sometimes to watch Tijuana play. I go just cross the border real quick and watch a game, or I went to Guadalajara watch games, and there are both good leagues now. But the ultimate fact is that the Premier League dictates the market. The Premier League is a little bit on its own on top, with the other four countries, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, right behind them and dominating basically also the commercial, the financial market on its own. I think now what you can see, Hugo, is interesting with Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, with what they're doing right now, is very similar to what the Premier League did 30 years ago. It's very similar. So I would say don't underestimate what Saudi Arabia is doing right now, step by step. And now if they really secure themselves the World Cup in 2034, they have a 10, 11-year window here to work with. So they will continue to invest into their league and into their infrastructure, into their teams, into players, coaches, and so forth. So that's something to have an eye on, what happens there right now. So things are shifting in the world of football at the moment, and I guess also in the world, But yeah, I think what has been created over the last 25 years in the United States, next to Mexico, with the World Cup now coming to the continent, it's just great timing. It's great timing for Mexico, for Canada, for the United States to showcase all their talent that they have to the world, in 3 years from now. And that is wonderful. But in order to have it all being very, very positive for all of us, no matter if we're in the US or we're in Mexico or we're in Canada, is you need a strong own national team. You need to make sure that your national team is going far. I mean, I'm talking far, that your goal should be make it somehow happen to go into the Final Four. Make it somehow happen to go into the Final Four. So it's not only about the quinto partido, it's maybe another one, that you want to go through, because you need to have a strong home national team in order to make it a very, very special tournament for your own people, and that's why I'm always asked about Germany and their expectations, because they won 4 times the World Cup, is to win the next World Cup. Period. You're not talking with Germany about Final 4 or Final 8. You said, no, you got to go in the final and you got to win this final. And so it is with Argentina and with Brazil. Now, other countries, they define Final 4 as a fantastic achievement, like it happened to Morocco. But what happened to Morocco, why can't that happen to Mexico or the United States? Because they have good players, right? On a good day, you can beat anybody in the world on a good day, but you have to repeat that day several times in a World Cup, in a tournament. And that is the key. That is it's a mental approach that you need to have to say, I'm ready for this, not doing it only one time, getting out of the group, which is already difficult enough. But now when you go in the knockout phase, to repeat that every time. But Morocco showed it. Morocco showed it in Qatar fantastically. Yeah, I cannot wait until the next World Cup, as you can see.
Yes. Well, I'm from Argentina. The Bundesliga has Argentinian players, Ezequiel Palacios, Nico Gonzalez.
Went to
He was in
Fiorentina, yeah.
Stuttgart. Yes,
Yeah.
and now in Fiorentina. Which other Argentinian player would you highlight to see playing in the Bundesliga in some time?
Oh my, there's so much talent in Argentina, as we all know, you know. And when they make their way to Europe, you just hope that, you know, they find a spot, if it's not the Bundesliga, in one of the other countries where they can showcase their talent and break through, you know. And there's no guarantee in no place in the world where you go that it will all work out. You don't. You have to jump in the cold water and you have to start swimming, you know. But that is what football is, you know. It's you play it as a kid in the streets, and later on organized for big clubs, and you have to prove your point every day in training and prove your point every time you play a game. But I think South Americans, Central Americans, and also Mexican in general, they're tough people. You know, you're a tough culture, and so no player should be scared of flying over to Europe and prove their point. No player. There's no need for being scared at all. You know, but you hope that player gets a little bit of a support system wherever he goes. If he goes to the Bundesliga, or if he goes to Italy, Spain, or Portugal, or other countries, you know, you just hope that they find people around them to give them a hand, to help them. Because for no young person, it's easy, you know, to go to another continent and from one day to the next showcase yourself in the best way possible. It's not easy. So be courageous, try it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hugo Garcia, please.
Hello, Jurgen. My name is Hugo Garcia from Daily La Voz del Interior of Córdoba, Argentina. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for the goals and your football. And the questions are, what your opinion do you have about the Argentina national team? What current Bundesliga level, and if you see yourself reflected in any Bundesliga player?
Yeah, pleasure all mine, Hugo. Difficult to see myself reflected in any Bundesliga player. I mean, a lot of comparisons were made when now Harry Kane went from Tottenham to Bayern Munich, because I did the same move more than 30 years ago, you know, and the reasons were the same. You know, I wanted badly to win some titles before I finished my career, which then happened there in Munich. So he was in the same kind of shoes. He left Tottenham after being there, the idol for everyone for so many years, and made that jump over to the Bundesliga, and is doing wonderfully and doing really, really well. And it might work out for him the same way it worked out for me a long time ago. Interestingly enough, you know, he will play the European Championship in the summertime, similar to Copa America, no? Basically in the country where he plays his club football with England. And I played, you know, my club football, and, you know, with the year prior to the Euros in '96 at Tottenham. Then I went to Bayern Munich, and then came back to England and won the European Championship in England, which I felt it was like almost my second home, from home, basically. So Harry Kane is a little bit a wonderful story to follow, you know, not only on the field, because he's a fantastic player, he's one of the top 3 strikers in the world, and he's a wonderful person as well. He's a good person, and I just hope that we have more of those stories, you know, that the Bundesliga can deliver to the football fans worldwide, that it's a good place to go to. It's a good place to go for Argentinian talents, for Mexican talents, to give it a try, to see, you know, if they can break through. They're playing for a big club, and obviously you'll be seen around the world. Nowadays, it's all no problem anymore with streaming. I mean, I can stream the Argentinian league and the Mexican league all day long. You know, I see the games from all over the world. So but I think every league has its own bit of a character. You should not really necessarily compare them too much. You know, the Argentinian league, when you watch a Boca River Plate game, it's unbelievable. You know, you feel the energy coming through the television screen at you. And so has Europe to offer many special games, like Mexico has to offer Chivas against Club America, many other derbies and rivalries. But that's the beauty of football. It delivers all these fantastic stories. But I think that the Bundesliga is just a good place to go. It's a safe place to go for a lot of young talent coming from South America and or Central America. And then they find people that give them a hand and help in order to become successful.
And thanks. And the second answer, what do you think about Piero Hincapié of Leverkusen? He was player of Talleres de Córdoba.
Yeah, now I don't want Ugo to go too much into details. It's not that I watch every game of him or every game of Leverkusen, because my main job right now is coaching the Korean national team. So spare with me that I cannot tell you too much about him now, Ugo.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Alejandro Pesca, please.
Hola, Jurgen. Buenas tardes. Muchas gracias además por este espacio. Quería preguntarte por el nivel de lo que son las eliminatorias suramericanas, teniendo en cuenta que el Mundial del 2026 pues va a tener al 60% de las selecciones de CONMEBOL clasificadas. ¿Esto favorece al nivel del Mundial o representa alguna ventaja para las selecciones europeas ya de entrada?
I think in general, I mean, it's a good thing. You know, you have more teams can qualify, especially for the South American nations, because South America has always been the most difficult qualifying campaign of all the campaigns out there. You know, now giving it instead of 4.5 spots, giving it 6 spots, and maybe I think maybe even a half goes in another playoff. That means a lot, you know, because there was always extreme drama to South American teams that didn't qualify, didn't make it, you know, like, for example, Colombia last time. It was very sad not to see Colombia in Qatar. So overall, it brings other challenges with, you know, going to 48 teams now in the next World Cup in Mexico, Canada, and the United States will be. It will be not only a traveling stress, it will be also obviously probably one game more as soon as they lay out, you know, the whole format of the games. It will be a marathon of games to get into the Final Four, to get into the final, and for whoever going to win it, then the final. It's a marathon. But I think if there's an opportunity to do that and to try it out now with 48 teams, there's no better continent prepared for it than United States, Mexico, and Canada, because the infrastructure is already there for it. No, I'm pleased. I mean, I'm also pleased, you know, because it makes it a bit less difficult to qualify. And same not only for South America, same is happening in Asia where I am, and because also there they became very, very competitive, the qualifying stages. So I hope that more teams benefit from it now, Alejandro, and then we see a fantastic World Cup in 2026.
Hablemos también del fútbol femenino. ¿Qué opina de la actualidad del fútbol femenino a nivel de clubes y selecciones? ¿En qué momento se encuentra el fútbol femenino?
Oh, I'm a big fan of women's football, a big fan of throughout the decades. And I think it's fantastic, you know, how it developed over the last 20 years. Absolutely fantastic. Not only from how many people follow now the games, you know, the leagues, the professional leagues around the world, how they grew, but also the quality that improved so much over the last 20 years of women's football is they deserve huge compliment. They deserve every support you can give them. And they enjoy it the same way we guys enjoy it, you know, and therefore I'm very pleased with the development of women's football throughout the world.
Jurgen, I have two more questions from Imagen, who could not be connected at this moment. It seems they have a problem. It's the Mexican Football League doesn't have right now a system of promotion and relegation like the Bundesliga. Is that an issue to keep the championship competitive and to grow the audience?
I think so, yes. And I said that always, I mean, at least from my point of view, I believe that promotion relegation can only help a league. And I say that also for the United States, you know, and it is important, really important that there's a fight going on for the relegation the same way there's a fight going on for winning a title or getting in the top spots in order to play CONCACAF Champions League, for example, or, you know, the continental competitions like the Champions Leagues in Europe or in Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana and all these competitions. But the same way, you need drama on the bottom as well. You need drama, and you need also give hope to the teams coming from the lower divisions that they have a chance to go up, to get to the top level. If they're really doing a fantastic job, if they develop great players, if they have the qualities, you know, then they need to have this reward at the end of the year to getting into the highest level possible. So I'm a big fan of promotion relegation, and I think it's necessary everywhere around the world in the domestic leagues.
Thank you. His second question is, everyone remembers the World Cup in Germany in 2006. It was a great success. What would Mexico and the USA need to be a great host for the coming 2026 World Cup?
Oh, I'm 1000% sure that each country, Mexico, United States, Canada, will be fantastic hosts. Will take this opportunity to showcase not only their cities and their people, their culture, but also the high quality games that they will host. It will be a festival of football in all three countries. It will be fantastic. Important is that your own team is doing well at the same time. You know, they need to go, I would say, at least into the quarterfinal to make their own people also happy, because that comes along with. I was very fortunate 2006 that we started off the World Cup in the opening game with Germany, right, with a win, 4 goals against Costa Rica, and then we won the following games, and then the whole country suddenly joined in and just had fun and enjoyed a very young team at that time. Yeah, not only playing really exciting football, but also winning their games and going far. I don't know if the enthusiasm of everybody would have been the same if we lost in the round of 16 or in the quarterfinals. Who knows? But, so you need to have your team doing well at the same time. You showcase your country, your culture, your people. That goes hand in hand. And I wish all three nations that they're going to do well.
Thank you. And my last question. In the next match of Saturday 4th, the Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, who's going to win?
Yeah, I mean, this is like, you know, who's going to win? Chivas plays Club America or Boca Juniors plays River Plate. You know, this is the German Clasico. And it's so much fun for all the fans joining this Clasico, because the neutral fan usually goes with Dortmund, because the neutral football fan in Germany is just against Bayern. It's just in the nature of the beast, because they won so many titles and they won the last 10 years the Bundesliga. So the people want to have somebody else win the title. So it's thrilling. There's a lot of tension around this game. There's a lot of excitement around this game, and you want, you know, the Bundesliga race going on until the very end of the year. The same like with the relegation battle that we just discussed before. I think more people wish Dortmund to win this game, because Bayern Munich already has so many millions fans and in Germany and around the world that they are just used always to end up as the winning team. But it would be good for the Bundesliga if Dortmund gets 3 points, because it makes it more difficult for Bayern to defend their title. But obviously they have so much quality in their side, Bayern Munich, at the moment, and with Harry Kane being in the form of his life, And with a fantastic Korean defender, Kim Min-jae, in the defense, it will be tough. It will be tough for Dortmund to beat them.
As always, Jürgen, many thanks. Thank you so much for all your answers and for your time. Muchas gracias a todos los periodistas que se conectaron. Les estaré mandando el video en un momento más. Gracias.
Muchas gracias a todos.
Bye.
Muchas gracias.
Bye.
Thank you.
Gracias, hasta luego,
Bye.
chao.
Bye. Ciao.